Hey guys, Miss G here. This is the week of April 6th. Hopefully, you have received the message from the school that you will get your math assignments every Tuesday, and then those assignments will be due the following Tuesday. So, before we get started, I just want to say that I hope everyone's doing well, that you have been doing some new things, getting out there, enjoying the sunshine. I can't believe it's been so sunny lately. Usually it's not during softball season like this. It's just raining all the time. I have been starting to walk some more, getting back into some running. I went on a hike today with my family out on my dad's property. Yes, we did social distancing, so you don't have to worry about that. I've been reading some books, so I have watched that You series on Netflix. So I went ahead and got the books by, I think her name is like Carolyn Canepis or something like that. You can look it up. I've been getting into those books. Haven't done as much puzzles lately. Kind of worn out on those, but my dad did give me a new one today, so I might check that one out. I think it's like pictures of toys in like the 80s, all the ones that you guys know about. But I hope you guys are doing well. If you can, send me some pictures, some videos, whatever. You can just go ahead and send them via Schoology or my email, just kgriebel at tvsd.us. It's really hard to say that when you don't really use it. Okay, so, sorry. No, it's not Corona. So this week we're going to talk about polygons and the area of those polygons and then some of the characteristics. We're usually pretty good at noticing those things, but I know that a lot of us have had trouble with saying whether lines were congruent or lines were parallel. So we're going to go over those characteristics. I split this up into 3 videos so that we can take a look at the shapes in 3 categories. It's going to be triangles, as you can see in the background right here. Then we're going to look at, the last ones are all quadrilaterals, but I kind of have them broken up into ones that we're used to seeing and then other ones that we're not really so used to seeing, like the ones you really didn't talk about in elementary school. So I do have notes on Schoology, so I would like you to fill those out for yourself. I think I might have you submitting those. I can't remember. You'll just have to check on Schoology. But every Tuesday, just be checking that folder. You have the whole week to get it in. I'll be here answering your questions if you have any, but it's just that one folder. Spread it out as much as you want. And hopefully it makes sense to you. So let's get started. No, I forgot. I wanted to go ahead and give you the week of April 6th, all of the things that are going on. You can see that. So, Monday, missed that. Sorry Charlie Day, which is actually today. It's Monday. I'm recording this. Tuesday, no housework day. Sorry, parents. Wednesday, draw a picture of a bird day. Thursday, name yourself day. And Friday, National Siblings Day. So that one's always a cool one. I'll probably be posting pictures of my brothers and sisters on that. Maybe I'll post it for you guys since you guys aren't on my social media because you are not allowed to be once you graduate, maybe. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I said that we're going to be starting with triangles. So the first one, sorry, my dog's in the way. So the first one that we're going to talk about is equilateral. So basically what I want you to get out of this is know what the shape looks like, know what the characteristics are, and how do you find the area of it. So I'll do the area at the end since all of these are triangles. Doesn't matter what kind of triangle it is. The area formula is still going to be the same. It's just depending on what kind of triangle you have, you might have to figure out the height of that triangle or the altitude. If you guys remember, we talked about altitude. All right, equilateral triangle. That's the one that everyone's used to starting out with. It looks like this, but you guys know that you can't just go by looks. Honestly, right now, this should be a scalene triangle because there's no markings on it, so I'm not telling you anything. So the most important thing on an equilateral triangle is the sides. So an equilateral triangle has 3 congruent sides. Remember, congruent sides are marked with little tick marks. So since these are all singular, that means all 3 sides are equal. So I'm going to write that down. 3 congruent sides. Now, in chapter 8, we talked about equilateral triangles in terms of their angles, and sometimes it's called equiangular. So we do know if it has 3 congruent sides, then it has to have 3 congruent angles, but we're really not concerned about that right now. Main thing is 3 congruent sides. Next, we have a right isosceles triangle. So there's, isosceles. Let's go top down. So isosceles. So what we have talked about before is that isosceles has 2 congruent sides. So most of the time, you're going to see it drawn like this. And 2 sides are congruent. I guess I should have done that in blue. I'm probably going to do this on black. You can't really see the blue. So the 2 sides are congruent, and then we talked about that the sides that are the angles that point to the sides, those are also congruent. So it has 2 congruent sides. And the term that we kind of talked about before were base angles are also congruent. So the main thing that should pop in your head no matter what when you hear isosceles is 2 congruent sides, which then leads to the 2 base angles being congruent. All right, next we have right isosceles. So that's 2 keywords in there. We already know it's a triangle because I said they're triangles. Right means right angle. So it has a right angle, but it's also isosceles. So this is where we got into those special right triangles. That 45, 45, 90 was a right isosceles. So a right isosceles is going to look like this. It has a right angle. So notice that a right angle is indicated by the square. We're pretty good at that. And then the 2 sides that make up the right angle are going to be the ones that are congruent. Remember, the hypotenuse has to be the longest side. So it can't be congruent to these 2 sides. So the main thing here has a right angle, and it has 2 congruent sides. Obviously, a triangle can't have more than one 90-degree angle, because if we have 2 90s, that already makes 180, and there's not enough angles left then for it to be a triangle. Scalenes. This is the one that we kind of forget about a lot when I ask you guys. So, the scalene triangle is a triangle that doesn't have any sides congruent. So, it can either be marked up like this, okay, where you see, oh, well, I have 1 tick mark, I have a double tick mark, and I have a triple tick mark. None of them match. So, no sides are congruent. Or I'm just going to write no equal sides. So, no equal sides. It also could be drawn just like this. Can't see that. If you see it drawn like that, then you are to assume that there are no sides are equal. Because if there are sides that are equal, it's going to mark it. If nothing is marked, then it is a scalene triangle. All right. Okay, then we have our right scalene triangle. So again, we know right means there's a right angle, and we now know scalene means there's no equal sides. So you could mark it like this. Here's our right angle, but these sides, none of them are equal, right? I have a single, a double, and a triple. No matches. So we'll write no sides equal, but it does have a right angle. Now, remember, same thing. You could have it drawn like this, and that has to mean that it's a right scalene because none of the sides are marked. So if there are no sides marked, you are to assume that none of them are equal. So now that we have all of our triangles, we know all the names of them, we know their characteristics, we need to figure out the area. So the area formula, I'm going to write it down here. So area of a triangle. So area is the base times the height divided by 2. Okay, we talked about it before, where if you take a triangle or a square, we know that's base times height. It takes 2 triangles to fit inside of that, so we only needed 1, so we divide it by 2. So no matter what, area is base times height divided by 2. The hardest part when finding the area of a triangle is this height. Now it's super easy when we have right angles because we know those have to be straight lines. So here you could assume if there was a number here, this is the height. Here, this is the height. But it gets a little dicey when we're looking at an equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. They don't have right angles in them. So sometimes you have to look for that dotted line, or other times they'll ask you to just put it in there. But for the most part, they're going to give you the dotted line. That's that altitude thing. So you should see a dotted line with a right angle. That indicates height. So if you were to do a problem, and I think CPM did have a whole section on this, and we kind of just blew by it. If you're looking at this triangle, it would say indicate where the height would be. So here I could just say, oh, okay, well, this would be a height. It's a dotted line with a right angle. Where else can you see this? So let's take a look at our scaling. You can kind of see that. Sometimes you will see that they will do a dotted line out here like this and indicate this is a height. Yeah, it still works. It's still going from top to bottom of the triangle. It's just outside of it, but that is a height. So 5 triangles right here. Remember that the tick marks indicate equal sides. Triangles, we have our right angles, and there's not going to be any parallel lines because there's only 3 sides anyways, so it can't be. So I guess the big thing is triangles, they all have 3 sides, and then you get down to, do they have any sides that are congruent, and do they have any specific angles? So hopefully that helps you remember about your triangles. Follow along on that worksheet, and what I would do, copy and paste some pictures in there and type out the notes, or you could even draw them out yourself and upload them, whatever it is that works for you. Next time you will see me getting into the area of quadrilaterals, and I'm splitting them up into 2 groups. Hope this video helps, and move on to the next one.